Welcome to part 4 of scheduling with the 2 kilo day, 2 kilo night template. And as usual, I realized in this video here I've forgotten something to mention earlier. So up on the top of the screen, as soon as I had opened Excel, you might have a button that appears like this, which says Enable Content. If that happens, you need to click that to allow the macros and the code that's embedded in the program to run. So whenever you see that button, just click it. Okay, so at this point here, we've actually gone and assigned not only all our Kilo 1 days, but as you can see, the Kilo 1 night shifts have all been filled as well. So as you can look at this column here, you can see that it's been filled and populated with the numbers as well. And now this percentage column all the way down here shows respectively from the top, most available to least available, how many shifts I've assigned in percentages. Now, sometimes it varies. Sometimes you get a higher number in the bottom, but again, it may depend on the availability of everybody in here. So it's not always possible to give the most available people the most shifts. It depends on everybody else's availability, as you know if you've been scheduling for any length of time. If we click over to the printable schedule sheet, we can see here that the Kilo 1 days have been completely filled. And the Kilo 1 nights have also been completely filled as well. I've utilized some colors in here just to help distinguish them for those people who may want to take this. After you've clicked on this button, after you're finishing the entire schedule and you click on this particular button, it will create a sheet like this. In my station, I find that people like to take this PDF file and download it on their phone. So they can just pop this open on their phone at any time and see what their schedule looks like. Another little trick that people will use quite often too is because during the month the schedule does change, and because the paper copy of the schedule in the station is the official copy, they'll come by the station once in a while when there's been updates or changes to that paper copy in the station and take a photograph with their cell phone and use that to keep a current copy of the schedule with them at all times. And here, all of a sudden, you can see that I have just populated the entire sheet with Kilo 2 day shifts now. So we did in the first round, we did Kilo 1 days, then we did Kilo 1 nights, and now I've populated the sheet with Kilo 2 days. Once again, the principles that I keep in mind when I do scheduling is to give the most amount of shifts to the most available, which are in the order of most to least available. And that is now reflected in this column here, the Kilo 2 day column. And now that I've assigned both the Kilo 1 and the Kilo 2 days, if I've given somebody their complete allotment, it shows at 100% here. And you can see as we go down to the least available, these people will get less shifts. So if people are losing out on shifts, it should be those who submit the least amount of availability. And down here, you can see that this also shows that all the days are filled in here. Let's click over to, or the nights I should say, are filled. The printable schedule shows that the Kilo 1 days, Kilo 1 nights, and Kilo 2 days have been filled. So there's only one more to go, and that will be the Kilo 2 nights. That's right. And here we go. Just like magic, the night shifts have all been filled. So I'm just taking a few shortcuts here to save time in the video. Now the entire schedule has actually been filled, or most of it I should say, not all the Kilo 2 nights. In fact, I left part of these blank so I could show you part of the process that I use. Now you remember earlier I said that if you see a green portion up here, that means that day is filled. So Tuesday the 23rd of January is completely filled, and to confirm that I can go over the printable schedule and look at the 23rd, and we see that both Kilo day cars are scheduled and both Kilo 2 night cars are scheduled. So as I go through here, you can see that I've scheduled Jacob, Richard, and Robert, the first 3 rows, and I'm now in the 4th row. So what I like to do is going from the top to the bottom, I will try and find some shifts for these people. So Eugene here, or Gene, is looking for some Kilo 2 nights. If I find one, I'll click on it. That seems to work. If I gave too many, a big red column would appear here, but he's the first one to get a Kilo 2 shift, and that's confirmed down here. There's the number 1. So again, I'm going to try and spread them out as much as I can. When I first start, it's a little bit random, my assignment. I'm trying to You can see this stays filled here. I'm trying to sort of spread them out as much as I can. So I'm not paying too much attention necessarily to exactly where they go. More to trying to even out the distribution throughout the month. And you can see here that the number keeps jumping up, this 92%. If I give another night shift here, for example, that number jumps up to 100. So they've now received 100% of their availability. Interesting that the number here is 24. So their total allotment is actually 23 shifts. But if you look at if you add these two numbers together, it actually is 24. So it's sort of give and take. Because of the rounding up and rounding down process, these numbers can vary a little bit. But I think I'm going to keep him at 24 for now. And we'll carry on to the next person. So I will start giving some Kilo 2 shifts, and I'll keep going. And you can see that every time I finish scheduling a day, that box turns green on the top for the date. Give a night shift here, and another one here maybe. It's gone up to 85%. Let's see, maybe we can put one in the middle here somewhere, right in here. That one's completely filled up. He's now at 92%. Looks like probably one more will bring him to 100%. Let's try giving him a shift right here. And sure enough, it's up to 100%. So the 22 matches this 22 here. So we didn't have this sort of rounding up, rounding down error that you saw here. So we're trying to keep everything as fair as possible. Actually, it looks like I missed a shift here. So let's see if we can't give this person another one somewhere that looks sort of well distributed throughout the month. And they're at 100%. Again, the same sort of rounding up error here. So you might want to look at this number as being the most important to be close to this. But it could be something like this number is 25 because his entitlement is 24.6%, or 24.6 shifts is what he's entitled to, and it rounded up to 25. And the percentage mark is pretty darn close here. So I'm not going to carry on too much farther here other than to show you that right now, at a glance, I can see that I've filled 5 days completely. And I can see, because I'm doing the pink shifts, which are the Kilo 2s, that I've got a few more people to go. Now, at some point, I may want to start jumping down here to the least available. If I'm going to give them any shifts at all, it might be an idea to do it sooner rather than later. If I leave them to last, the few shifts that they're available for that they might be entitled to a shift might be gone already. So it's your choice how you choose to assign the shifts. Some people like to start at the bottom first and make sure they get their entitlement, then work their way to the top. What can happen if you do that is that these people might get 100% of their allotment, and these people are maybe getting only 80 or 90%, and that's not consistent with the intent of the WAG, which again says that the most available people should get the most amount of the shifts. So if you do start from the least available, and your people at the bottom who are the least available are getting higher numbers than those who are more available, you might need to change that after the fact, after you've worked your way up through the schedule here. Let's take a look at the printable schedule. And although it's not completely filled right now, just to summarize again, if I want to create a PDF, I click on this button, creates a PDF. I can go from here and print it to my printer, or I can file and save it as a PDF file into my computer, which I'm not going to do right now. I can do the same thing with the personalized schedule. You can see that Jean is the person I've selected from this drop-down menu, but I could go and select somebody like Tom, for instance, and there's Tom shifts. And if I want to create one just specifically for him, there we go. And I can do the same thing, print or email that off. Going over the station phone list, as I mentioned before, you can click on that to create a paper copy. And the stats is something just for general interest. So in a nutshell, that's the entire scheduling program, how to use it. One final thing. You want to create a printable copy of the printable schedule, but you also want to print this for your station as well. That's why there's a Create PDF link right here, a button right here. So once that's created, you will have a copy here that you can send out to everybody. I've just blown it up a bit here. It'll print on one piece of paper. You can keep this hanging in your station so that if somebody books off or a shift needs to be filled, you can follow the WAG and look at those people that have unused remaining availability for your rotation list if you're using a rotation list. But this is also a way of making sure that people are happy with the schedule. They can see the numbers and percentages in here. If they're not 100, if they don't work exactly according to what your intent is, you can explain perhaps you didn't have enough availability. You can explain how the system works and how you scheduled according to your understanding of the WAG. And that's it for this series of videos. If you have any questions regarding your program, any problems with the program itself, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I'm available by email, and my phone number is 250-615-3639. And for now, good luck with scheduling.